Yeah, he lists his list of alumni: Bill Hybels, John Maxwell, Bishop Charles Blake, Rick Warren, Walt Kallestad, Kirby John Caldwell. Anyhow, these guys are followers, and Hybels credits Schuller as the key person who influenced his ideas. In a book that Schuller published, Hybels wrote one of the chapters.
Ah,
And Warren disputes Schuller's influence because there have been people who have tried to tie him to Schuller and then say, well, look how bad Schuller is, and here's his disciple. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he probably didn't get his theology from Schuller, but the church growth thinking, the church growth ministry philosophy is this very similar.
hmm.
Okay, he got from a Gavrin, and he did attend this institute, so he's at
Well,
least heard Schuller's ideas.
you had a quote, and this is out of Warren's book, but let me read the quote and then make a comment about it, all right? Rick Warren is now proposing yet another reformation. This is to quote your paper, and here's what he says. And we've actually created what we call clinic in a box, business in a box, church in a box, and we are using normal people, volunteers. When Jesus sent the disciples, this will be my last point. When Jesus sent the disciples into a village, he said, find a man of peace. And he said, when you find the man of peace, you start working with that person, and if he responds to you, you work with them. But if they don't, you dust the dust off your shoes, you go to the next village. Who's the man of peace in a village? Or maybe a woman of peace? Who has the most respect? They're open and they're influential. They don't have to be a Christian. In fact, they could be a Muslim, but they're open and they're influential, and you work with them to attack the five giants. And that's going to bring the Second Reformation. Now, we have a little problem there, don't we?
Well, again, there's a section in my book where I do some exegetical work about the Luke passage
Yep.
on the man of peace to
Well, I'm
show.
also looking for where's Sola Scriptura in that one.
Well, yeah, exactly. Now I'm realizing for the last 20 years why there's this disconnect when I'm contending for the faith with some people.
Yes.
My mind is always functioning from the thinking that Sola Scriptura is true.
Yes.
And that if I prove from the Bible, so what I do here, like with this section, I took this quote in my book,
Mm-hmm.
and I just go into Luke and I expound the section on the man of peace that Jesus is talking about and prove that you can't be a man of peace unless you submit to the Prince of Peace. Okay, in other words, they had to receive the message of the gospel of the kingdom,
Yes.
not just be willing to help solve problems. And I use exegesis to disprove this application. But now I realize, well, I should have won the battle.
Yes.
Or I should have said, okay, there it is. What can you say? I've proven it from biblical exegesis, and I don't think you could prove this Muslim application.
Yes.
Well, what happens? Nothing. Why does nothing happen?
Yes.
Now I know why. The evangelic church doesn't believe in
They
sola
don't.
scriptura, so they don't care if my exegesis is correct.
They don't buy
They
it.
don't use that as a lens by which to look at everything.
Yes.
Okay, so now because of the changed landscape, people like Schuller, then later Warren, can propose a reformation that's based on ideas that aren't drawn anywhere from Scripture and cannot be defended from Scripture, and people are willing to give it plausibility.
No problem.
So it's pretty
Wow.
clear to me that we've already lost the concept of sola scriptura in most of the evangelical church, and it's the reason we're in the state that we're in, because now we don't have any tools to fight anything that comes in,
I can see why.
whatever it might be, because those of us who say, here's what the Scripture says, and here's this, and here's that, and here's some good rigorous exegetical work and critical thinking, and we're going to apply it to the situation, and they go, so what?
How do we sum this up? We're just about out of time for today.
Well, we need to understand this principle and we need to apply it. And I'm seeing that right now this is the battle. It's never been so clear in my mind because I realize now that I have to fight this battle, and so does anybody else as a conservative evangelical, if they want to preserve our movement to have any relevance for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
It's getting to be a bigger issue.
Yeah, and people will go back to Rome as they are going back to Rome, because if we're not going to have sola scriptura and our practices can come from anywhere, well, then why not go to the church that has the longest practice living without sola scriptura? the Roman Catholic Church. So we go back 1,500 years, and we can do any of these things and believe any of these things that they did. And at least now we have a covering, because we don't have the Bible to protect us anymore. So now we'll go and have the magisterium.
We're going to explore that next week.
Okay.
Excellent discussion. That's it for today, folks. For those of you who might want to contact us or visit our church, we're Twin City Fellowship in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Our telephone number is 952-935-3100, or you can find us on the web at cicministry.org. For Critical Issues Commentary, this is Dick Kuffel
And Bob DeWaay.
See you next week.